Yes, children, welcome back to the class of catalysis. So today we will begin with the second session. Before that, let us recall what we have studied in the last class. So in the last class, I had dealt you something about catalysis, catalyst, positive catalyst, negative catalyst, promoter and inhibitors. So again I ended up with the class by telling you about what is meant by homogeneous catalysis, heterogeneous catalysis and biocatalysis. So today we will take up next part of catalysis. So we are going to begin today's session by the theories on catalysis. So what are the different theories based on catalysis? So the first important theory we study about adsorption theory. So adsorption theory is mainly based for heterogeneous catalysis. So adsorption theory is studied only for heterogeneous catalysis. And the second theory is enzyme substrate theory. Enzyme substrate formation theory or enzyme substrate theory. This is meant for biocatalysis. Enzyme substrate theory is meant for biocatalysis. So let us see something detail about adsorption theory, which is meant for heterogeneous catalysis. So adsorption theory, that is for heterogeneous catalysis. So what is adsorption theory? So the reacting molecules, which we can also call as species are going to come close to the surface. Suppose this is the surface, the species are going to come close to the surface. In the second step, the species bind on the surface. The reacting molecules are going to bind to the surface and they get activated. So already I have told you that adsorption phenomenon is an exothermic process. So the reacting molecules get activated, and where there is proper orientation, where the reacting molecules are properly adsorbed and they are nearby to each other, those reacting molecules react to form the product. Those molecules are going to only react to form the product, and the product is going to dissolve from the surface. Once the product is formed, the product is going to dissolve from the surface. So this can be also explained diagrammatically with a very simple diagram. So the diagrammatic representation of adsorption theory. So we consider the catalyst, and these are the active centers or the active site of the catalyst, free end of the catalyst, and A and B are the reactants. Consider A and B as the reactant. So A and B is going to bind to the active sites on the catalyst surface. So once it is bonded, there will be some enthalpy change due to the heat of adsorption, and A and B start reacting with each other, and next A and B get converted into product. Product do not have any affinity or the same site on the surface of the catalyst. Therefore the product dissolves and the catalyst is set free. So next going to enzyme substrate theory. Second theory of catalysis is called as enzyme substrate theory, which is mainly meant for biocatalysis. So in the earlier class I have explained you what is meant by biocatalysis. It is the type of catalysis which is taking place in the living system. So we will see what is enzyme substrate theory. A specific enzyme binds with a specific substrate, that is a particular type of enzyme is going to bind with particular type of substrate to form enzyme substrate complex, which is a temporary complex. We call it as enzyme substrate complex. Then the substrate react within itself and get converted into product or products. The substrate react within itself and get converted into product or products, and the surface of the enzyme is again set free for the new substrate to bind. So again I repeat this concept. A particular or a specific enzyme combines with a specific substrate or a particular substrate to form enzyme substrate complex. It is a temporary complex. We call it as enzyme substrate complex. Then the substrate react within itself. There will be some energy of attraction, and due to this the heat will be evolved, and using this heat the substrate start reacting within itself and convert into product or products, and the enzyme surface is again set free for the new substrate to come and bind. So now let us see the next part of catalysis, that is industrial applications of catalysis. So this industrial application of catalysis is very important for 1 mark. It may be asked in NEET, CET, JEE and even in theory 1 mark part. So what are the industrial applications of catalysis? So in the Haber's process for the manufacture of ammonia, when 1 molecule of nitrogen combines with 3 moles of or molecules of hydrogen, it gives ammonia. During this process, iron is used as catalyst and molybdenum acts as a promoter. So, in the contact process for the production of sulfuric acid, that is H2SO4. So, in this process, first sulfur dioxide is converted into sulfur trioxide. Then sulfur trioxide, with the help of H2SO4, it is converted into oleum. Oleum is nothing but fuming sulfuric acid. The fumes of sulfuric acid is called as oleum. When the oleum is dissolved in water, we get concentrated sulfuric acid. During this process, platinum or vanadium pentoxide acts as a catalyst. And the third use, in Ostwald process. Ostwald process is the production of nitric acid. During the production of nitric acid, when nitrogen dioxide combines with water and oxygen, it produces nitric acid. During this process, platinum is used as a catalyst. And the last use is in the hydrogenation process, that is when oils are converted into fat. Nickel is used as a catalyst. So these are the 4 applications of a catalyst, main 4 applications of catalyst. Rather than this, many other catalysts are used in many other processes. So next part is what are the some important characteristics of the solid catalyst. So the activity of catalyst purely depends on the group element we are choosing. So it is found that from group 7 to group 10 elements act as very good catalysts. The compounds of group 7 to group 10 elements, that is most of these comes under D block elements. So D block elements acts as very good catalyst. See the second important characteristics of solid catalyst. So solid catalysts have high selectivity. That is, if the same reactants are also taken but the different catalysts are used, product is going to be different. So for the same type of reactant, if the catalyst is different, the product is going to be different. So I explain with one example. When carbon monoxide and hydrogen react in presence of copper, the product is formaldehyde. When carbon monoxide react with hydrogen in presence of copper, the product is formaldehyde. But when the same reactant, carbon monoxide, react with hydrogen in presence of zinc oxide, product is methanol. Alcohol is formed. So when I am changing the catalyst, in presence of copper, formaldehyde, but in presence of zinc oxide, the product is becoming methanol. So last important part what we are going to see is shape selective catalysis. So what is meant by shape selective catalysis? It is the type of catalysis which depends on the shape of the surface and the reacting molecules. It purely depends on the shape of the surface and reacting molecules. Now suppose I take the surface as a cubic space is left out in the surface. This is the surface of the catalyst, and these are the different shape of the reacting molecules. Suppose I take a triangular molecule, one spherical molecule and one cubic molecule. So which reacting molecule can easily adsorb? This cubic molecule can easily adsorb. So this type of the catalytic reaction where the shape of the surface and the reacting molecules must interact with each other. These molecule and these molecule cannot bind on the surface. That type of reaction is called as shape selective catalysis, which is found very active in case of zeolite. So zeolite has a network structure. Zeolite has a network structure. Sodium aluminium silicate is called as zeolite, which is having a three-dimensional network and which purely depends on the shape of the catalyst. So here some of the aluminium is replaced by sodium atoms and purely the shape is going to change. So that is the activity of zeolite.